Aha. Saying girls, it's Tuesday. One more day closer to the end of that stupid ass work week. And look who we got with us tonight. Ooh. This is Turn the Pot with Dr. Cade and my very special guest, Devantes. Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey man, thank you for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. First off, I mean, the world is really crazy. Everybody's got a ton. We're right around the corner from the holidays. So I appreciate you taking the time to talk to us, the fans, out of your busy schedule. That's very cool of you. I appreciate that, my friend.
No problem, man. Anytime, it's fine, man.
And second off, you sound very mild, like meek, mild, mild mannered. A little. I thought you were like, because when we see you at wrestling, you're Devante. So when you started speaking here, I'm like, oh wow, that's not the Devantes I thought. I thought he was gonna be.
That's only in the ring, man. I'm pretty quiet in real life,
You know what, boys and girls, I'm kind of with Devantes on that. When I'm not at the shows and when I'm not doing this stuff and all of the wrestling stuff, you would be so surprised how chill and laid back and like quiet I really am. I guess this is my outlet, if you will. So I'd have to kind of say it's the same thing for you with the wrestling because we go through the work week. We have the bills. We may have had a fight with our girl or the family or whatever, or we stubbed our toe and it pissed us off. But when wrestling comes around, all of that shit kind of disappears and you get an outlet. Is that the way it is for you, my friend?
Yeah, man. Like you said, it's an outlet, man. It's a hobby of mine. It's a love, passion of mine. Um, yeah, you get the, this is it's totally different. Than wrestling is totally different than anything else, man. So, it's you get to just become this character, man, and it's definitely therapeutic to me.
Excellent word. That'll be the title of this show. I like to call every episode different, so it has its own little flavor. It's therapeutic to me. I love that. We're gonna call that'll be the title if that's okay with you, my
Yeah,
friend.
that's fine.
All right, excellent. Now, before we get too much into this, you look gorgeous. That beard of yours. Oh my goodness, man. How long have you been trying to maintain that thing? That is just amazing.
It's I would say probably about like a year. I just let it go for about a year.
A year? Dude,
Yeah.
if I did this for a year, it would not be that. Let me tell you. Holy cow. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank
Now, in the ring, you are totally tattooed. You take your shirt off. You have the tights. You look very professional. This is something I always bring up on the shows. You look very professional when you come through those curtains, and it just strikes that's eye appealing to the fans when you don't half-ass it, if you will. When you present yourself very professional, you look good in the gear. You're all tattooed up. You've got that kick-ass mohawk. You've got this beard. You've got this presence about you. Could you talk to us about? Let's just start there because Devantes, to me, I've never heard of that anybody called Devantes in wrestling.
you.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but what's with the name Devantes as a persona, if you will? And is there a backstory or does it have a meaning or anything to you?
Uh, Um, the name came from a former trainer, the school that I went to. It was given to me. The character was kind of given to me as well, but I had to mold it. They wanted me to be like Mike Tyson, Kimbo Slice looking, kinda like Balrog from Street Fighter. Like they wanted that, so I just added my own flavor to it. But the name was given to me, and I thought I was going to get a bad name because I know some people got some pretty crappy names. I'm like, I don't. What am I going to get? And then when I heard it, like, wow, this ain't bad. I like this. This I could work with this. I don't want to change this at all. So, but yeah, that's all it was to it.
Your story is quite different. Everybody's story is different, but the way your name comes about, the persona, the character, when you're writing stuff down and like, what the hell am I going to do as a wrestler? How do I come out of the box as a new wrestler? And what do I do? How do I look? How do I speak? And all of this. Am I a heel? Am I a face? But you're saying like this name was given to you, and you kind of just took it in and charactered like within, if you will, and just kind of worked with it and molded it to where we are today.
Yep, that's
Wow,
exactly.
that's interesting and quite different than most upcoming wrestlers, because maybe something that they're presently doing is they've gone through a couple things and now they kind of step back and they're like, I just want myself, obviously we say amped up to 1,000 or 1,000,000 or whatever you want to say for wrestling. So most people kind of take within from their own selves and bring that character, but you've been given a character and you've worked with it. To me, that seems like it's much harder to do, because now you're not just taking something that, hey, I like Spider-Man, so I'm going to take that and be some kind of Spider-Man thing. You know what I'm saying? It just seems a little bit harder.
Well, it's more, it goes back to what we talked about earlier, as far as being therapeutic. Like I could become somebody. You said I was mild mannered. I'm mild mannered in real life, and I could turn into something else, completely different than what I am in real life. So, I mean, it's challenging at times, but I think that I'm crafting it and molding it to where I want it to be, and I like where I'm going so far with this character.
I have to agree with you, because once I announced that last week, I announced Mr. Skyros, Devantes, and Talking Tommy for this week's schedule, and there was some pop going on, man. So you have a lot of people out there, and I was just interviewed last weekend on a podcast, which was like totally mind altering for me. Like, they interviewed me? Are you shitting me? But I spoke of my next week's schedule, and when I mentioned Devantes, they were like, we're going to be speaking with him too. So you have a reach, you have a fan base, you're really networking and doing what you're doing, and it seems to be working out for you right now. Is this the first character you've ever worked with in wrestling?
Yep. Yeah. I've only been doing this since, like, I started wrestling training in 2018 and I debuted in 2019. So like it's only been a short time, but like I said, it's rare that you get something that you like off the back.
Right.
And I'm not gonna, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot with this. I want to keep this going a little bit longer.
um, Speak about the gear, the colors, because they're a little bit different than most. You don't. There's some traditional colors that guys use, and they all want to be unique in their own look. But I mean, your body style, your mohawk, your beard, your skin tone, you're already unique as it is. But then talk to us about the gear. Who made it, and does it represent anything? The markings on it or anything like that?
Yeah, so it depends on which gear. Like I think one of the shows you were at was where I had the long tights on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so those were like the first ones, and I still love those. I switched the trunks, but for me, like when it comes to gear, like as you said earlier, some people half-ass it, and it's like I look at it like business wise. I invested so much money into going to wrestling, and I had to dedicate myself to this. So I'm like, I'm not going to half-ass anything. If I do anything, I'm gonna go 100%. So, and I want to look. I don't even want to be the part. I want to look the part as well. As you said, I want that presence when you see me. Like, oh wow, like this dude's for real. This dude looks like he should be on somebody's television right now. So I invest money in this. Gear is expensive, but this is a passion that I have of mine. So I said, I don't believe in going 50%. I got to go 100% if I'm in it. So, that's why a lot of those ideas come from,
Mm-hmm.
you know. Mm-hmm.
And who made the gear, if you don't
All right.
mind?
This guy named Armando Sanchez out of Illinois. Um, I got put on to him by a couple of different wrestlers, kept telling me about him. And so I just started messaging him, and he sends stuff back real quick. I recently switched the trunks. A lot easier to get trunks on and off instead of sweaty tights at the end of a match. So, and I'm liking the trunk thing right now. But yeah, Mondo Sanchez.
Nice. Excuse me. your presence, as we were speaking of, you come out and you look like a dude that could just eat the fans for breakfast, no problem. Especially me, I'm built like a candle. I'm a little skinny bastard. I will boo the piss out of you, but if you turn around and make eye contact, holy shit, do I sit down?
Yeah, man.
Now, I want to speak of one promotion specifically that I've seen, and I first started seeing you at Paradise Alley Pro Wrestling,
Right.
probably when you were kind of breaking in, if I'm not mistaken, because you came with a circle of guys. I won't announce all of them,
Right.
but but you were running with a circle of guys, and you guys were making your run, and you stopped at Paradise Alley. And now I want to start just a little previous to that. You come out of Chikara, is that correct?
That's correct.
Very character driven, a lot of masks, a lot of the, the production is off the charts over there. It's just insane. No mask and no, you don't do this kooky stuff, if you will. I mean, we love us some hermit crab, but Devantes is not gonna do no hermit crab type stuff, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not doing like I'm not a lucha guy. Like I can do lucha. Chikara is like heavily luchador stuff. Like so I can base and do a lot of those things. Like take the moves and give some of the moves, but it's not my gimmick at all. If you see me do one and done. But yeah, they actually wanted me in a mask at first, but when I didn't have the mohawk, I didn't have the beard, and I was like, I really want to be in a mask. I remember growing my beard. Like I kind of wanted to look a certain way, and I think that got across to the powers that be there, and was like, yeah, that's like let's show that face off, you know.
Hey, moneymaker, as the Miz would say, the moneymaker on Devante. Now I want to go swing back to where I started. The PAPW, I saw you there originally, but I want to kind of work around Blitzkrieg because over there, you you tangle up with this guy. Alex Cipher, he's kind of behind you. Your manager, your valet, if you will. I don't know how you want to perceive that. We absolutely cannot stomach Alex Cipher at Blitzkrieg Pro and a couple other places. But if you noticed before last week when I did announce you, somebody right off the ripper, friend Eric, he was like, ask him why he hangs out with Alex Cipher. So let's kind of stop right there and talk about that, my friend. But then your answer was because he's a good guy. Please talk to us about this relationship with yourself and Alex Cipher.
Yeah, I like Alex, man. Alex is there to make sure everything goes well. If I need a little assistance throughout a match, Alex is there for me, man. At the end of the day, I'm a heel. So, nobody said fighting was fair. So I got Alex as my insurance policy.
Quite the character Mr. Cipher is. I had him on the show, and I think he had a child or something in a cage. The dude is, the guy is off his rocker. So I was just kind of, but what a character. His presentation, his presence, always professional. He doesn't look, half-ass again, always professional looking. The character is, which is really, I mean, that's just Mr. Cipher. Not even amped up to 1 million. That's probably only 5% higher than what he normally really is. Yes. But that relationship you had over there, you've had with Blitzkrieg, how long has that been going right now?
So they messaged me earlier in the year. Jeremy Larry, the promoter, and Sky wrestled a lot at Chikara. So that was when I first seen them and met them. And I remember Larry just messaged me and was like, hey, would you like to be a part of, one of our shows we had coming up? This was earlier in the year. And every show since then, I've been showing up. So
You seem to be a mainstay now on the
hmm
roster at Blitzkrieg. That is that fair to say at this point?
yeah, absolutely, man. I love it there, man. That's my favorite one of my favorite promotions to work.
And they get that IWTV push over there. You can, get that moneymaker out there to the IWTV.
Absolutely, absolutely, man. I love it.
Uh, the venue that they usually use is over in Enfield, Connecticut, and it's a banquet hall. It's on the second floor. What a kick-ass setup. There's never a worry about low ceilings or chandeliers or anything near you against a wall, and it's just wide open, and it's just a really cool setting because of the high ceilings. And you've got that concessions area over there, home of the pierogies,
Hmm
and their kielbasa and all of that. So that venue is really, really cool that they kind of, it's almost like it's their home shows
hmm
over there for Blitzkrieg, right?
hmm Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely a beautiful banquet hall, man. One of the better venues that I've been to, man. Like I said, and that's another reason why I love being at Blitzkrieg. Other than just the people, like I love this setup, the look,
Mm.
and the atmosphere. You know, the fans always come up and show out there. So
That is a valid point because Blitzkrieg has such a fan base that when they came back up and running post vid, well, whatever you want to call it, the fans were right back there. You know what I'm saying? They had 100 tickets, bam, they sold 100 tickets. They had
hmm
150 tickets or whatever, whatever they do. Their fan base is definitely loyal. And well, I'm trashing the set over here, Devantes. Um, but the entranceway is probably one of the most unique entrances in any promotion anywhere because it is literally from a balcony down a stairwell.
yep,
And I have seen so many different fun ways that the guys and girls have utilized that, or like even the Sandman coming down there. You know what I'm Sabu,
yeah,
and just the local talent we see there regularly. But that thing, once you see a show at Blitzkrieg at that banquet hall, that entranceway, it's visually branded in your brain. For me, it is. It's just so unique.
yep, yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah, it definitely is, man. Like I said again, that's one of my favorite places to wrestle. I love that atmosphere there, man.
And I see, right, whatever happened with your car. But I see that Mr. Leary's relationships with some of the talent that were from Jakara is still alive and
Yeah,
kicking here,
yeah,
and we get to see some of those talents.
yeah.
That's got to be pretty cool for you specifically because of the transition here. Because now you're seeing your peers that were at Jakara.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I love these are people that I seen for 2 years straight every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every week we would see each other. So to link it back up with like a Travis Huckabee, King Crab, to see Larry, to see Sky, to see, so many people that come from Chikara there that are there. So, it's good to see them again.
Nice. That's what we like to hear because we love that good vibe from behind in that locker room because all that does is spill over into the event and everybody benefits from that.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like that good locker room, it just that vibe overflows and yeah, good times over at Blitzkrieg. But that's where I've seen you most.
hmm
I've also seen you at Test Strength out of East Hartford. We have a blast at Test Strength. They do
hmm
their training days and they do their bigger shows. I like to call them the pay-per-views for Test Strength.
Yeah.
Um, and you've been at some of those as well.
hmm
Um, we got to see you some more, in our local promotions. Because I'm from Connecticut, and I mean, I do travel still,
hmm
but I don't get to go too far. I can only do so much out there, my man. Now, coming out as a new wrestler, do you have a direction that
Yeah.
you've already built in your brain? Like, okay, I want to start here if possible, or I want to go here. Why Chikara? That's exactly where you started, but why Chikara?
Okay, so I had never like I was always a fan of wrestling. How I got into wrestling literally was my brother lived around the corner from Chikara, and he said they have a free workshop. You want to go? I was like, all right, no problem, I'll go. And I always been like an athletic guy. And I walked in there, Solo Darling was there, and a couple of big independent people were there. And I did the workout, and I got bit by the bug, and that's how I started. But if you were to ask me 4 years ago, hey, do you want to become a professional wrestler? I would have told you no. I had no intentions on doing it, but I got bit by the bug, and for me, as far as saying that I know where I wanted to go, like I'm at the point where I'm just enjoying the journey. I know a lot of people like, oh, this person started with me and they're there, or this person started with me and they're there, and why am I only here? I enjoy being on the road, taking those long drives to Ohio, going to Alabama, going to all of these different promotions, and just enjoying the independent scene. Like I said, it's therapeutic for me, man. Become doing something that's completely different than who I am in real life, and I'm having fun. Like wrestling isn't a job to me; it's fun. Obviously we get paid for it, but it's more fun. Like I have a love and a passion for this.
Mhm.
So I just appreciate the journey.
And it shows in your efforts, looking
Mhm.
good, in ring, out of ring, and such. Yeah, it definitely shows you've got that passion. Now, I kind of want to go back to when you first started being 2019, because March of 2020, everything just went to absolute shit.
Yeah.
So speak to us, because just starting out as a new wrestler, and I don't care if it's at the beginning of 2019 or if it's towards the end of 2019, when you're starting your journey as a wrestler, yeah, your endorphins, your adrenaline, it's just constantly running. Your brain is going this way and that way, and you want to do everything right now. But then the world shuts down. That must have really tripped you out. Were you able to handle that in a good manner? Because some people kind of, they went into dark places, and some people found ways to train, keep their wits about them, and push through. So could you talk to us about that time that happened to you? Because that's fresh right out of the box as a new wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah, I debuted in like May of 2019. And I always say I was fortunate because I was like that last wave of Chikara. That we debuted and Chikara had shows every month, so we was getting like those IWTV rubs, and people were able to see us. Like I got bookings because people were watching Chikara and seeing me on it. And I'm grateful because during COVID, I had some big bookings during that time. And obviously, it wasn't the crowds that we wanted. It was a limited capacity, but I was fortunate enough to get booked on Paradigm Pro Wrestling, to go to New South, to do the Super 8 tournament. All of this is during COVID. And it's like I said, it sucks because, some people that uh, debuted after me didn't get the same opportunities that I got, because people were able to see me for close to a year, for over a year. Um, it was good enough to get my name out there. So I was one of the fortunate ones.
I That's actually fantastic, because you get to work, you get to keep that wrestling in your life. While, like I said, some of the guys and girls, they weren't like knowing how to handle it and had to reach out, or maybe went through some dark shit.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so that's good that you're able to kind of continue that path.
Hmm.
Uh, it must have been quite difficult because of all of the restrictions and the traveling and all of that. It must have been probably the most difficult time for you as an athlete at that point, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, man. It was tough, man. Doing some tapings, like, tape, it's fine. I love to wrestle, but that adrenaline you get from a crowd, you know, is priceless. And you know, doing a match with nobody in the room, nobody in there except you, the cameraman, and the promoter, it was just different. I appreciate it, but it was different.
it seems like a buzzkill on the party, if you will. Mom and dad came home and cleared everybody out.
Yeah. Basically.
um, excuse
Real
me.
quick, you mentioned testosterone. Tell Bobby Ocean stop running from me.
Oh shit! Woo! I will never relay that message. You know what? I will clip this and I will let you relay that message. How about that? We'll do that together, huh?
Good to me. Sounds good to
Uh,
me.
Holy shit! You got my heart racing there. Woo! I am definitely not asking Bobby Ocean that. No way. Not hard hitting. Like I said, I'm built like a motherfucking candle. Wow, that threw me for a loop.
Yeah, man.
Test of strength. Since you did mention them, I love character. I love storytelling, and all of and those portions, the entertainment and in ring. You know, I kind of like it all, if you will, when it comes to wrestling. Test of Strength gives us that because they do have some long-term storytelling with their championships or some of their roster that's kind of mainstay on there while they bring in fresh faces. And me as a fan, Devantes, I absolutely appreciate that they give us that. And I'm not just saying that Test of Strength is the only one around here that does it. I'm just using them as an example.
Right. Right.
But man, I just love that kind of stuff. Give me a character, give me a good storyline, and I'm basically there. I mean, the rest is kind of cake after that. But storylines, that kind of stuff, the psychology that really sticks with you, huh?
Absolutely, man. I don't like rush storylines. I like when people take their time to draw it out a little bit better. I'm just a fan of good content, man. I don't like cheap, uh, you said half-ass and stuff, man. So that's more of what I'm into. I'm into the long storyline, man. I wanted the levels to keep going up and up and peak.
And man, that's what we call wrestling, my man, because I love that as a fan. I don't want to see a one and done sometimes. You
Mm-hmm.
know, sometimes it calls for it. You know, it is what it is. But if you're feeling it, if there's chemistry there and that story's already been picked up and the energy from the fans is you're feeling it, why not give it another one, two more events and really kind of get something going? You might even stretch it a little bit more. You never know.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
but yeah, I love that stuff, man. At Test of Strength, we have tons of fun. We just saw Vinny and Vincent and Vita Von Star over there. That was absolutely fantastic this past weekend. That was a grand time.
I I trained with Vita Von Star. That's my home. That's my buddy. I was with her last Monday. We went to Cheeseburgers Dojo and trained together. But yeah, that's my home.
Hey, now Vita Von Star, I even put up a status. Innovative rock star shit that she does in that ring. My God, she's very like she's
Mhm.
different than any other woman wrestler. Because I've never seen her live. You know, I've seen her doing the stuff with the Righteous over there on ROH.
Mhm.
But seeing her live at Test of Strength, man, I was just like, her
Mhm.
entrance was her entrance was fire. Some of the moves she did was absolutely fire. Some of the stuff she did utilizing the ropes,
Mhm.
fire. And I
Mhm.
was just like, this chick is a freaking rock star, man.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. Big fan of her, man. And I tell you one thing, she hit harder than the boys do. I tell her that all the time.
oh, man, I got a bad back. I'm sorry. Oh God. Now we have seen the release of these ROH talents since we're on the topic, and
Mhm.
now they're coming out and they're hitting some of these shows.
Mhm.
Blitzkrieg just saw Dirty Dango and Breeze. I don't know what he calls himself. I call him
Bree-
Breezy. It
Breezes. Yeah,
is.
I was.
But my point being is having some of these talents that you've seen on TV for some time under, the WWE platform or an AEW or New Japan or these companies that have been more in the spotlight over the course of many years. it's got to be cool to be able to pick the brains of said talent when they come in, and and maybe get a little bit of respect out of them before you guys leave and from said event. Do you care? Do you on a regular basis, do you care to pick the brains of these kind of talents that are walking in the doors?
Um, well, I've had situations where, like Jake something from Impact, I did a show in Ohio in September, and he like watched the match, and after the match, he just walked up to me and like gave me the whole breakdown of my match, gave me the pros, gave me the cons. I appreciate things like that. I know some guys, like I know Max Caster and Aiden English just wrestled each other at Blitzkrieg on Saturday, and Max Caster asked VSK, to watch his match or whatever, give him the breakdown and things like that. Um, I got certain guys that like are more like in the independent scene that's been doing it way longer than me. Like I'll have Travis Huckabee watch one of my matches. A very good professional wrestler. If he's on one card with me, I'll have him watch one of my matches. But I don't want to go up and like bother certain people. Don't know me. You know, or might have heard of me, but we don't have a personal relationship. Now,
Right.
like Jake something, he just watched the match and just gave me the breakdown of it. So that I appreciated that.
Wow, that's pretty cool because you, good or bad, Devantes, you want that feedback, you want that critique, and if it's bad, you can't take it personally. You just got to kind of soak it in and learn from it and gain that experience and
Absolutely.
and just fix those little quirks, you know.
Absolutely. Some people, want the validation, just want somebody to say, "Oh, you did a great job." And, I want you, hey, listen, you could have did this better. Or, your strikes here weren't the best. This isn't believable. Oh, you got a little tired here. Put a rest hold on them to catch your breath and then do it. Things like that is what I appreciate, and I try to get better. You take it for consume it for the next match that I have. So I appreciate it.
Now you spoke of the empty arenas doing the tapings
Mm-hmm.
and the energy of the fans, which was totally missing, and a lot of the men and women that were doing the studio tapings were feeling that. You are very young in your career and you're already feeling the fans. You're feeding off the fans. You're utilizing us for a tool, especially when you have Cypher by your side. It's very it's a little it's a little easier on that token because Cypher can work a crowd like none other.
Yes, you
But
can.
you're utilizing the crowd already in your young career, and I have to give you some applause for that because that's something that doesn't come easy, and it sometimes it doesn't come until you're 5, 6, 7, 8, sometimes even 10 plus years into your career, to where you can really hear it, really feel it, and or feed off of it and utilize it. So did you feel that right off the ripper coming out of the door? The being a new wrestler, did it take a little bit of time? Where are you at with the crowd and feeling that and utilizing that in your career right now?
So it grew after a while. Like I used to be quiet because I was still I didn't own the I didn't own the character in the beginning. Like I had the look. I would make the mean faces, but I really wouldn't talk. I wouldn't say much. And then I opened up. I blossomed more, where I just talk trash. Somebody say something in the crowd, they think I don't hear them. I reply to them in the ring. Uh, Things like that. Like that's the being a heel, man. That motivates you, that drives you, that gives you that extra win in the ring. You know, things like that. But yeah, it took a little bit for me to get there because I wasn't that way in the beginning.
You seem to enjoy being the heel, the bad guy, if you will.
Hmm.
Uh, the good guy or the face, something you'd be interested in doing, or have you done that switcheroo at all in other promotions? Because sometimes a promoter wants that out of said wrestler.
Yeah, I've done it. In the beginning, I didn't like it. I didn't. Come on, get in there, get the fan. But I wasn't that guy. But I've had matches where Like I just did NYWC and in New York, and I was supposed to be the heel, but they wasn't going for it. They loved everything I did. They cheered me the whole time and wound up booing who the face was. And I was like, all right. So like mid match, like beginning of the match, we just like, you know what? We're just changing this. I'm not gonna yell at the fans or nothing. I'm just gonna feed into what they're talking about. So it happens.
But you embraced it and adapted on the fly. Boys and girls, that's what we're talking about right there. Feeling it, reading it, reacting to it. You and your opponent both did that, which that's professionalism right there, my man. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
That's absolutely beautiful. Now, there's smaller venues than other. That's very obvious. And I always speak on the Test of Strength Dojo in East Hartford because it's a very small room with just a ring and about 20, 30 chairs. And when anybody uses the word intimate and wrestling, that's my go-to in my brain because it is wicked small in there, but it's so kick-ass
Mm-hmm.
in that small environment. I think I like that better than the bigger places. Obviously, you have more people and there's a larger volume, and I get that. But my man, I love those smaller, intimate places. I know you've been in some that are much smaller than others. Do you have a preference, or does it matter, or where you at with the size wise of the venue?
I like the bigger crowd. I prefer the bigger crowd, but the smaller ones don't bother me at all. I mean, I like getting the reps in wrestling, period. But uh, it's nothing like hearing hundreds of people roar, whether they booing you or whether they're cheering you. You
Yeah.
know, that adrenaline rush that you get from that is untouchable.
I want to spin back to the beginning because you just got to follow me because I don't write a damn thing down. We we just go. I want to go back to the beginning because you're a wrestling fan. Obviously, you've already spoke on that very very lightly. But being a wrestling fan, becoming a wrestler, and walking into and walking into Chikara is nothing like any wrestling that you've ever really seen for the
Mhm.
most part. It has its own identity, its own vibe, its own unique
Right.
flavor.
Hmm.
Um, what was your product that you would watch as a wrestling fan leading up to wanting to become a wrestler and getting through those doors of Takara? Are you looking at the dub, or what are you watching previous as a fan?
Growing up, I was WWE, WCW, but me and my brother's favorite was ECW because we live in Philly, and ECW was right our backyard, so we
Mm-hmm.
used to go to the matches and things like that. ECW was my favorite, obviously, but I would watch a lot of WWE.
The product has changed. We talk about evolution of wrestling. It's at a weird state right now with the TV wars going on, if you will. Do you still watch the current product being the WWE, AEW, and all of that stuff?
Yeah, well, I watch AEW because a lot I know I watch both of them. I still enjoy it. I watch AEW more, I would say, because a lot of the people there I know, like my trainer was Orange Cassidy, so
Mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of people there I've trained with, so I watch that more. But I like WWE as well. I love what they got going on with Roman Reigns. Like I just think that they're knocking it out the park with him.
That is, people have asked me, what do you feel right now is the best thing in WWE? And I'm like, hate him or love him, whatever it is, man. Roman Reigns has got it going on over there, especially with Paul Heyman behind
Yeah.
him, with all of his facials and the way he speaks and
Yep.
his mind and all of that.
Yep. I gotta watch him, and I know some people ask like, who's the wrestler that you watch a lot? People be surprised. I watch Randy Orton. Like, you hear people. It's either the love, like you said with Roman. It's either the love or hate with Randy. I'll hear people say Randy's boring, and I think Randy is just great because like all of the little things that Randy does, and Randy shows you that less is more. Like you don't have to just be the uh, all out there. Like the subtle things that Randy does in the ring, like his selling is top notch to me. So, and he's great at what he does. Like Randy doesn't do a whole bunch of moves, but what he does do, he's great at. So I love stuff like that.
I'm on board with you with the Orton thing as well, because another question that's been posed to me was, if you had to pick a perfect physique for a wrestler, who would you pick? And Randy Orton always comes to mind first, because his physique has always been solid, even when he was younger. And you could look back even, 10, 15 years and a picture side by side. That guy is just always on his game physically, in ring, all of that. His character, he knows exactly what he wants to do, and he tells us and he shows us on the TV. But I've always been a Randy Orton guy, for his physique and pretty much the reasons that you spoke of.
Mm-hmm.
So we're on some same wavelengths here when it does come to the wrestling. So walking into Chikara, it's a whole different world. Did your perception when you walk in, you're like, the fuck is going on around here? Was it something to adjust to a little bit? Because I find it's its own little world at that time.
Yeah, it was different. Now are you saying, I'm trying to understand the question more. Are you saying like the wrestling
Well,
style they have, or
well, yeah, because if you're watching WWE, obviously
right?
it's character driven, but Chikara, it's
Yeah,
almost like comic book
yeah,
character
yeah,
driven, if you will.
yeah, yeah. It was different. Because I wasn't big on independence. I didn't know anything really about independence. I was more than a casual fan, but I only watched the big promotions. I never watched the Chikara episode a day in my life. So when I seeing all of this, I'm like, wow, like this is different. This is cool. You know, I like all of the luchador. I like a lot of the masked characters, man. But it was definitely different. I'm like, wow, I don't see this on WWE, or I didn't see like WCW had your cruiserweight. It reminded me of WCW cruiserweights with a lot of the masked characters. So I
Yeah.
thought that was cool.
Now, there's many styles of wrestling. You've talked about the luchador and whatnot. What would you classify yourself as a wrestler? Because some say hybrid, some say brawler and technical wrestler. What do you find a classification that you fit in as your style?
I say old school, man. I'm an old school guy. Like I love Arn Anderson, man. Um brawler, yes. But I just old school wrestler, man. That's where I want to be. I want to be able to wrestle anybody, obviously, all different styles. Like we talked about luchador, like I love wrestling them. I'm a great base for them. I won't do what they do or try to do what they do, but I would say old school wrestler. That territory era wrestler.
Mm. Again, you're hitting me right in my heart, man. Because I grew up on that 70s into the 80s wrestling, the late 70s. Because I was in it like probably like 78ish, if you will. That's when I really got in it. But I love that old school era. That's my favorite stuff of to where we're at now. And I know the Attitude Era hits a note with a lot of people. But the old school stuff, that WCCW with the Von Erichs
Yeah.
and and the Freebirds feud that went on for, I don't know, 1,000 years.
Mhm.
All of that kind of stuff. But Don Morocco's my guy. You have that You've got that stockiness. I mean, I know you're not a Don Morocco guy, but you have that stockiness, you have that stature, and you saying old school. I almost want to correlate you guys just a smidge now, because Don Morocco is my guy, man.
Yeah, 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 man. I appreciate that, dude. But yeah, that to me that was just. I'm more like I like spots. Don't get me wrong. I like to get the crowd into it, but I want to see a struggle. I want to see a story in that ring. That's why I went back to Randy Orton. But that's what I loved about that era. They told more of a story in the ring, and they
Mm-hmm.
showed you less was more. You don't got to go out there and kill yourself in the ring every match. You know?
I, I'm not a wrestler, but we are so on the same wavelength, my man. I want to pick apart what we were speaking on the Roman thing because of the psychology end of it. Once Roman really started molding this bad guy portion of his career alongside with Paul Heyman, his entrance has turned into a 20-minute ordeal. And let me tell you, anybody that I talk about the Roman thing, it pisses them off. And I love when they speak on that because that's what it's supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah, but it just drags on. And yes, and it's for a purpose.
Yeah.
Before the guy even gets into the ring, he's giving you the psychology portion of the program. He hasn't even done a lock yet, my man.
Yep.
So that old school, I can really appreciate with you on that. Tag teaming, multi-man scrambles, stuff like that. Do you feel that, or do you prefer being a singles wrestler and doing your thing like that?
I like it all. If I had to pick, I would say singles, but I enjoy doing tag matches. Not the biggest fan of scrambles. I enjoy doing it all, but like you said, if I had to pick, it's going to be singles. I like mano a mano, one on one. Let's get it on.
You spoke of Orange Cassidy being your trainer.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried the pocket thing? Hands in the pocket and doing something?
Nah, I never tried that. I tell people all the time, man, what you see from him on AEW is that's like 20% of what he really can do.
I am definitely aware of that. Whenever he really started getting a buzz and stuff like that, and he just went on fire out of nowhere too. My goodness.
Yeah.
But you kind of want to figure out, there's no way that this is what this guy has been doing the whole time. And I did a little digging and stuff or whatever, but great in ring, because you cannot do what you're doing and have confidence and be safe and have your opponent's confidence with you doing this crazy shit. So having that solid in ring, and I know Orange can go. So you have to have that before you can do the pocket stuff. But I was just trying to visualize Devantes doing the pocket stuff. I thought it would be, maybe you should try to do that one. Just saying. Now I noticed. Where can we buy? I'm sorry. Where can we buy gear? Because do you go behind the merch tables and do the intermissions and all of that stuff? We don't really see a whole lot of Devantes out there.
I got whatamaneuver.com. You can get like my shirts, hoodies, things like that. But no, I don't do the intermission thing. I don't really even come out during intermission. Like, you'll see me at the end of a show, but yeah, I'm not out there selling merch. I have my stuff on What a Maneuver. I need to get out there and sell merch, but I got the websites that I'll promote on your show, the whatamaneuver.com. You can get type in Devantes and my stuff will pop up.
All right, cool. Because that's something that I noticed when it comes to either pre-show or intermission. You're looking. No Devantes again. That dude never comes out here. It's not for all of the wrestlers. That is for sure. Some of them, they just want to, and I totally feel that because I correlate music with wrestling, very similar to both. Mm-hmm. And when I was jamming, we would do the whole night. We would bring the big light show. We brought the PA, and we did our thing. We were doing all of that 80s rock hair shit, hair rock stuff. The White Snake and the Crew and the Rat and all of that stuff. But in between sets 1, 2, and 3, dude, I would almost shut down. Like, I would leave that stage, put my guitar down, leave the stage, and instead of mingling, I would basically go to my car, change my shirt, because I would bring like 3 or 4 shirts with me because I'm a jackass up on stage, man. I cannot stand still. So I'm coming out like I just came, I'm getting off the stage like I just came out of the shower. So I always change my shirt, sit back, have it real quiet in my car for a little bit. We only get 15, 20 minutes in between sets, but I can feel that not wanting to go out there and deal with the crowd at times because you just need to get that vibe on your own,
Hmm. Yeah, and a lot of times it's, especially if my match, it's more so like if my match is after intermission, I'm getting in that zone.
Yeah.
I'm got stuff going on in my head, things like that, and that's more so what it's about.
Do you have any preparation coming out from Gorilla, if you will, before you come through that curtain? Are you listening to music? Are you pumping yourself up? I mean, what's going on with Devantes? Is there any kind of rituals before you come out that curtain that you're doing?
I pray every time before I go out. Every time I go out, and then kind of get myself psyched up, do a couple push-ups or whatever. But it's usually like pray. I'll do push-ups. And, I'm ready to go.
Hearing your music, is that the switch? Is
Yeah,
that what turns on that switch?
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what gets me all the time. That gets me riled up.
No, it's not always a curtain. Uh, Sometimes it's a door.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's a balcony, a flight of stairs. You
yeah,
have to adapt to your environment. But I just I find it so different in the indies because it doesn't have that huge grandeur of this gigantic ramp and all of the Titantrons and all of the lights and all of the production that goes with it. When you're at Test of Strength, you come through a door out of a hallway. I mean, it's like this is fucking wrestling to me, man. This is what I really dig about the wrestling because I guess if you could call it the minor leagues independent, I don't know. Some people don't like that or whatever, but it's just such a different environment from one venue to another, from one promotion to another, from one event to another. And when you can go where Test of Strength draws a couple to a few hundred people on their road shows, and then you go to their dojo and there's only 20 or 30 of us, it, that's wrestling to me.
yeah,
Being able to feel those different vibes and whatnot. Um, which brings me to my point is locker room from venue to venue, promotion to promotion. You have to kind of adapt at times, especially when you don't know all of the talent back there. I'm not an athlete. I'm not a wrestler. I would never do that because I would break in half like peanut brittle. But is that something you've been able to adapt to going from locker room to locker room?
yeah. A lot of times you see, people that you've wrestled before, or people that trained with or whatever. I usually gravitate towards them. Speak to everybody, obviously, but
Okay.
it's just about being, respectful to people. At the end of the day, I'm super PC in the locker room. Um, things like that. I just carry that around all the time. I don't talk about anything, that's questionable or, pushing the envelope. So I just keep it extremely professional, you know.
I, I try, but then I start jawing at the mouth, and then the talent start kicking like Ref Bill Thompson. He loves to kick me in my shins. That's
Yeah.
just a one example. Yeah.
Like
Uh,
Bill. Yeah, Bill's a good guy.
oh, one of my favorite episodes is with Ref Bill Thompson. I got all liquored up on apple cinnamon moonshine. Oh, that was a blast.
That's funny
But
though.
that that's what it's all about for me as a fan, though. Devantes is
Hmm.
I go as a fan always. I go to have fun. I want to interact with the talent. And if possible, not everybody wants to be interacted with, and I get it. But I never cross these lines to where I'm vulgar or um, I'm like trying to friend their mom or their wife on Facebook or something fucking stupid like that, or that invisible barrier, that line from fan to wrestler. I know my boundaries, but I still have as much fun as I possibly can without crossing that line, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what you mean. Yeah.
Have you had any crazy interactions with the fans at this point? Like legit kind of weird shit, because there's a lot of fucked up, there's a lot of crazy people out there, Devantes. And I know at wrestling, the fans, we love wrestling fans, but sometimes they get carried away. Have you had any weird interactions with the fans as yet?
Uh, Not at shows. Like I've had people find me on Facebook and like message me, at 3 o'clock in the morning saying weird stuff to me. And I'm just like, all right, you got to get blocked. You know, never. Yeah, I've had a situation where a guy, like drunk guy, I was like, can you spine buster me in the ring? I'm like, no, you know, things like that. But nothing too much.
And it seems a little lighthearted to a degree, not when it's happening, but after the fact.
Right.
uh, where does Devante go from here in his career? I mean, you have your promotions that you've gone to. We've talked about a few of the states. Is there anything in your direct tunnel vision right now? Like, I want to hit this promotion, this promotion, this promotion, or is anything wide open? Let's hit them all. Let's get this working.
The goal, I would love, okay, Impact is my home, or MLW is my home, or WWE or AW or things like that. But whatever opportunities that come, I want to do beyond wrestling. I tell you that right now. I want to do beyond
Ooh,
out west. Um, I want to go to Limitless in Maine, and I would love to do GCW one day. I could have did GCW one day, but I had another booking that a booking in Ohio that I took before the opportunity arose. Um, but yeah, like I said, just hit anything, anybody that reaches out to me, man. I'm booked on a pretty consistent basis, so I appreciate that. But
nice.
again, like I said, just enjoying the journey, man. Anybody who reaches out to me, I'm with it.
Have you been finding that promotions have been reaching out to you a little bit more as your career progresses here?
Yeah, it reaches. Yeah, like last year was a pretty good. Like I wrestled for, like I traveled all over. Like I traveled a lot. Like I said, I went to Alabama, Ohio, Connecticut, Rhode Island. All of these different places that I've never been before. And but yeah, they pick up a little bit more every year.
Nice. Now, you mentioned GCW. I want to speak real quick about that 24-hour thing that they did. That was absolutely insane. Were you anywhere near that? And I know you said you'd like to work for GCW, but sometimes, you get to ride with a friend, maybe try to get a spot, but you didn't make it or whatever. Um, did you watch or were around that GCW event at all?
So when I said I had a prior booking, that was the show that I missed.
Oh, shit.
I Yeah, that was the show. I had Ohio Wrestling Alliance, which was a love that card. Myron Reed and Jonathan Gresham was on that card. It was one of the best matches I got to
Oh,
see
wow. Nice.
personally. Um, but that was the show that wanted. I was supposed to be on that show, and I had another booking. And if I gave you my word is everything in wrestling. If I gave you my word and I gave it to you first,
Mhm.
you take it. It's different if you just got to understand. I got to take this bigger opportunity. That was the show that I was supposed to be on with a lot of my friends from Chicago.
Wow. I didn't mean to bring up a bad memory.
It's okay, man. I had fun either way. It's okay.
But that was something interesting. Whenever I hear GCW, and I know they do their events and stuff, but anytime I hear GCW, my mind goes back to that 24-hour thing. Obviously, I didn't watch the whole thing, and I watched it in different time frames. But wow, well, that was just something interesting. And they said it was just cold AF in that place.
It's funny because like the promoter there did like 12 hours. Not the promoter, the ring announcer, and he caught a flight and then came to my show in Ohio and did that show that night. I was like, wow, wow.
That's insane.
Yep, yep,
That these are the sacrifices that we push our minds through, we push our bodies through for wrestling. These are the things.
yeah, absolutely, man. It's definitely taking commitment, man. Definitely got to commit to this. You know, losing sleep, sleeping in rest areas. You know, sleeping in the car. I remember when I first started, I would I I had to be at work at 1:30 in the morning, and I was thankful the owners of the school seeing how athletic I was. So they wanted to move me up faster. So I had to do beginner class and intermediate. 4 hours of training from 6 o'clock to 11 o'clock 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. I would have to drive to work, wash up in the bathroom, and sleep in my car for 2 hours and get ready for work. And I did this every week. So it's definitely a commitment, man. But like I said, when you invest hard-earned money into something, get your money's worth.
And you're investing yourself to be able to make that livelihood for yourself, your family through wrestling. Um, Again, I applaud you, my friend. You're doing it the right way. From my eyes, you're doing it the right way. You seem to be making a mark, gaining that fan base, networking. The promotions are picking you up. It seems like you're doing it the right way, and I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Yep.
Now, before I do let you go, you have been on the road a bunch of times. You've been talking these states that you go here and there. Before I let you go, and we give you the links where we can find you and all of that stuff, is there a road story of any kind that you might be able to share with us, the fans? May it be stuck on the road or a gas station, or somebody wrote maybe a mustache on your face, or anything that comes to mind that you might be able to share with the fans?
Uh, Light-hearted stuff. Like, you get people, you ride in the car with a bunch of talent, a bunch of guys, your peers, you go to sleep, they take pictures of your sleep and things like that. Lighthearted, nothing too serious, thank God. I my destinations smoothly. Yeah, that's it.
Hey, you know, any story is a good story, my man. We just love to being able to have the talent open up and talk to us is, I've always said, a pleasure and an honor. So um, just being able to sit and conversate with you for this past hour has been a blessing for us, the fans. And I thank you so much for hanging out with us. And before I do let you go, where can we find you on all the social medias? Because the people that don't know you, we want them to find you and learn about you. And the ones that do know you, maybe they don't know that you have a this or a that, and we can see footage or media or check you out a little bit deeper.
So, I would say Devantes PW is my Twitter. That's like the best way to reach me. That's like straight wrestling. Uh, Facebook is more like both for me. I do wrestling and it's my personal life, as you can see. But as far as like wrestling, go to Twitter, Devantes PW. You can DM me for bookings. Um, you know, uh, Check out highlights, things that I post all the time. That would be the best thing to reach out, to get in contact me with.
And the last thing before we leave here, you are very picturesque. You're gorgeous, my man. The media, when it comes out, just the picture that I use, I wanted to use that one because you were just like, you were very picturesque. You look
All right.
fantastic, man. Thank you. Thank you from a fan to a talent. You're eye catching when you come through the curtain. You do your thing. You're professional. You look solid. You've tattooed and all of that. That beautiful mohawk and the beard. Can't wait to see what the future brings to Devantes. Uh, Thank you so much for spending the time with us, taking
Mm-hmm.
the time out of your life. I mean, we all got a lot going on. So thank you, my friend. I do really appreciate that.
No problem, man. I appreciate you for having me anytime, dude.
Ah, man, I would love a return. Maybe in another 6 months or so, we'll see what's going on with Devante's career. That would be awesome.
Sounds good to me, man. I'm with it.
Yes. With all of that, this is Stir the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest, Devantes. Thank
Mhm.
you, my man.
All right, man. Appreciate you, brother.